I am Amp Sir Easy, and I endorse this message.
I'm CJ, my little fuck up. Own submissive of Amp So Easy. Anyhow, I just read an article that my sir had on his blog, and it was called, an article that my sir gave me to read, and it was called Masochistic Personality Disorder. Self-defeating personality disorder. And as I was reading that, their big information type thing there, I was actually seeing a lot of myself in that. I see where I put myself in positions that
Well, how can you put yourself in those positions if you saw something that was explaining a mental disorder? It means that you don't have any control of it, but it's just as natural as the thousands, if not millions, of people who also have the same dysfunction. So go ahead, keep on.
Well, that's very true, sir. You're correct on that, because it's a personality disorder somewhat that comes from your upbringing, from growing up, from being young. It's not like
From your experiences as well. I mean, you can have a couple of bad experiences that you can survive for a long time, and then it makes you a little different.
Exactly.
Maybe even a little darker sometimes.
Exactly.
Sometimes a little bit more defensive, or sometimes not capable of actually having more faith in everyday occurrences sometimes. I mean, it's a natural quirk.
Exactly. Someone telling you something that's for your better, but then just because of those experiences and things like that, you don't see it their way.
Well, you can't see it their way. You can't you can't submit your will to their will or their faith. You understand what I'm saying? See how simple this is? It's just actual practical application. Now, apply that back to what you just read, because you're right on point.
Well, I apply it to not actually doing the things that I'm supposed to do.
How about we re-identify that to not being able to identify exactly what it is that you call it and how it is that it feels and how well you accept that quirk in what you do. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. We're all we're imperfect humans.
But I was not accepting it.
You weren't even noticing that it got that deep.
Didn't know that it got that deep. Didn't know there was such thing called that, I always just thought maybe now that I realized that I was bipolar, that it was a bipolar type episode or something like that. That was just something that came through
right
a chemical imbalance in me.
And now you start finding out that all of that was true, and there's a lot more people who are all bipolar, and most of the people are trying to not admit it or want to find out how bad they are comparative to Britney Spears.
Exactly. And there's a bunch of people out there like this.
All right, so you finished saying what you need to say to peoples out there in the world?
Well, what I need to say is that just because sometimes you might feel that you're not getting it, or someone might think you're not getting it, you are getting it, and sometimes it just takes you longer. Just by reading what I read, it says that it doesn't happen overnight, and it depends on the person's how deep it is into them as to how long it's going to take to get them out of that disorder, that personality disorder. So, also read too that chemicals, drugs, is not the thing that's going to cure it. So,
it actually makes it even harder for you to identify it,
because you are it's not a fog, but you're not clear. Your head's not clear. It's
right.
you're cloudy. So
Right.
that's like me, you know. Once I got off my antidepressants and things like that, you know, I got to see a little bit clearer. But still, you have all types of different effects that come after those things after you stop taking them. So
Right.
once all those things are cleared, let's take a reality picture. Once those things are cleared, then you know that's when you actually can see more of all of those dysfunctions and how they are affecting you. And that's where I've been, and that's where I'm coming from, you know.
Right.
So,
And we're still trying to learn that you don't see with your eyes and you don't hear with your ears.
Definitely.
Correctly.
We
All right. From the pimp style of life in itself, you've kind of gotten more of an image. It doesn't have to actually include you, but some part of you might actually be included into some things that are being expressed here. The main objective here is there's absolutely nothing wrong with any person, no matter how dysfunctional they are. But one thing, and that's knowing what it is or what it ain't. Respect.